The video you're about to watch is the recording of a guest call I did with Ben Bader's Artisan Lab Mastermind. If you don't know who Ben is, definitely take a look at his content too. He was a great friend for 5 years from 2020 to 2025 when he unfortunately passed away. We would have so much fun talking about growing our personal brands, growing our coaching businesses, and you can literally see him in this video push me to start the channel that I'm making this video on right now about what I've been able to do with my coaching business the past couple years. He unfortunately tragically passed away in October 2025, so I was thinking this would be a cool thing to share because he was one of the main people who pushed me to go ahead and do this. So rest in peace to my brother Ben, and hope you enjoy the call, guys.
Flips, I think you're the only person I know who is as consistent and disciplined as you are and doesn't have any form of stimulant addiction.
Ooh. Yeah, people say that all the time. Yeah, I'll hit a Gatorade like once or twice a day. But not like, I know that's not crazy or anything, but yeah, I don't know. I just was never like ever into that stuff. Yeah.
No, that's crazy. No, you're just raw dogging life, brother.
I guess, yeah.
All right, boys and girls. So first of all, welcome in. If you don't know, Flips for Miles, absolute stud. Miles ran a guest call when I first started Artisan Lab, and since then it's grown a lot. We've got a lot of new faces in here, so I'm sure everything he shares will be super unique here. Miles, how long have you been running your info business?
3 years ago. Oh, high ticket, 3 years this month. Yeah.
That's awesome. So Miles is someone who I think you're, not only do you just consistently have your ear to the streets and the info world, but you're just a dog. Info can be fleeting, and I think you built it the right way. You haven't, sacrificed your reputation or your fulfillment in order to scale or anything like that. I think, and you've stayed consistent, making fucking bread doing it. So why don't we start there? Just like kind of your approach, I guess when you first started selling it, but how you even kind of arrived at this conclusion where you're like, all right, I can sling shit. And
yeah.
We can go from there.
Yeah, so I started my personal brand without having any idea about like selling courses or anything like that. It just was so boring, like selling shoes on my own, and I wanted to like meet people that were doing it. So I came from the shoe reselling world basically, and I started to learn about like Gary Vee, and he was always talking about like personal branding and everything like that, and no one really cared at my college about the stuff I was doing, and I didn't expect them to care. I knew people were online, and I had met people online over, different topics over the years basically. And so I started in 2019, even before I was doing Amazon stuff. And then the Amazon stuff took off about 2 years later. And I was just so consistent, like sharing what I was doing, that people started asking. And then right around the time that Ben and I became friends, Twitter started to sophisticate more. People started to make like really, really big money from courses and stuff. And I remember JK Molina, he like really publicly documented making 81 grand in a week. And I was like, holy shit. And then Ben and I met him like a week later in person in Miami, the first time I ever went to Miami. And now I live here with Ben too. And so I was like, holy crap, like 81K in a week. And I was like, that is absolutely insane. And then a couple months later, I had like started to get really good at Amazon, like 20, 30, 40K a month profit. And people started asking heavily. They started asking heavily. We have this Discord we made. It's free. We're making a little bit of money off that. And then basically we decided we wanted to launch a low ticket course in February of 2022. And I was like, all right, like I know exactly what I'm going to do. JK sent an email at 8 p.m. the first day. He sent 2 emails the next day, 3 emails the next day. So what he did was he staggered the pricing. So they started at 147, so they started on Wednesday at 147, and then 2 days later went to 197, and then Sunday night bumped it up huge. And so that was when I started learning like scarcity and stuff like that. And pretty much, and we just ended up doing way more than I expected to do that first week of the launch. And then I had this Instagram agency that they were like, trust, you gotta do high ticket. And then the high ticket the first month, which was this 3 years ago, did more than we did that week, basically, for my personal take home the first month. And I've pretty much just been running it up ever since. But why I think I was able to be pretty successful with it pretty quick was I had a ton of built-in trust already. A lot of people that have been following me for a while. Every now and again, I'll still have someone that buys from me that was around back then that never converted, basically. But yeah, and then pretty much just been doing that same funnel ever since, primarily the high-ticket call funnel, and then webinar to low ticket's been good too as well.
Sure. Awesome, dude. Yo, why don't we talk about getting started with your personal brand from the ground up too? We'll get into like more of the weeds of the info side, but I think that would be helpful just to kind of hear your perspective on when you started posting content. Just like, obviously it was mainly about Amazon, and I think you started solely on Twitter, but like, how'd you kind of even view content at the time? Were you just kind of documenting what you were doing? Like, what did that look like?
I think, yeah, looking back, it was hardcore documentation of what I was doing, which as you figure things out, naturally you start to see what people respond to, what questions people ask, you start to answer that in your content too. And inevitably, if you provide enough value, you start to build authority over time. People start asking to pay you and so on, basically. But it was hardcore, pure documentation as I kind of figured things out. Like, actually, I started the Instagram in 2019. I started doing Twitter about a year later. But my Instagram went through like a couple phases. It was like, it started out purely about shoe reselling, then it was about Amazon, and then I quit Amazon for a while because it was really hard at the time. And then I started doing, I literally was a personal finance account, honestly, for a good amount of 2020. And then basically switched back to Amazon and got good at it, like multiple six figures profit the first year doing it right. And then basically just kind of spun it off that. But the cool thing is, it's not just selling info that is powerful off your personal brand. It's the connections you meet. Like our friend group.
How much was your day?
Is the same thing it was like years ago. Like Ben, Mason, Sanjay, me, Danny. Like we all met. We would do Twitter Spaces together 4 years ago on like Friday nights when I was like hanging out at my parents' house. Basically, we still all hang out today. But there's kind of a couple components to it, like the making money directly, making money indirectly off the relationships you build, and then the relationships and the people you meet is kind of the first component of that, I would say. But it's just such a fucking no-brainer, right? Because it's like, you guys are all interested in this stuff. You probably don't know a single other person IRL who's interested in this stuff. So purely from just like a selfish perspective, just needing other people in your life to talk about with this stuff. That's why like groups like this are so important. And then you building your own equity online, parasocially with other people is very, very important too. Because you never know what you can build off it. Like I literally got started just because I wanted to find more people to talk about shoe reselling with. And like 2.5 years later, I had ownership in one software company. We now have a second one too. And then like the info business and the Amazon business that was built off that. But it was all, and there's a ton of people that were around back then that still only do Amazon stuff that never end up being able to expand beyond that because they didn't give themselves a chance to. And the personal brand and the trust and the relationships you get off that, it's such a no-brainer relative to the time investment.
100%, bro. How did you manage kind of shifting your niche a couple times? Because you started off mostly Amazon, and then you went into sneaker reselling, then Amazon, then personal finance, then back to Amazon. How did you kind of like go about that without looking like some random grifter who's like now talking about a different business model?
Well, I wasn't making money from it. And no one cares if you're not making money from it, if you're not selling how to do it. No one cares. No one cares, period. It's just like a couple people that, will throw you a jab on Twitter every now and again if you like really start to cook with it, basically. But yeah, like when you're not worried about making money from it or selling anything, no one cares. Like the niche is you. You know what I mean? I'm going to at some point, I'm probably going to change my name in the future from Flips for Miles to just Miles, like Longstreth online, and everything. But like the niche is you. And
then you'll start selling info on how to build an info business.
Y'all see how much I like talking about it in the seconds we get into it, so I probably will do that eventually.
I'm so excited for that offer for you because I think that's just going to cook, bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, for example, Sean brings up a good point. Yeah, like, I was even fucking around in 2020 running Facebook ads for med spas, and Sean and I would talk all the time back then about that. Like, I did so much shit back in the day. Because it was during COVID, so you just had time,
Yeah, totally. Okay, let's get more into the weeds of the info side. So, I guess when did it become like your real kind of cash cow? Was it from the beginning, you're like, holy shit, there's so much money here and it's 90% margins rather than 30% on Amazon? Or like, when did it become kind of your main thing?
Yeah, like the first day that there was any scarcity on that launch, I was like, holy shit, man. Like, just because, like, I was lucky where I didn't start the personal brand to sell info, so it became really easy to sell info because people mess with you when when they know you don't need anything from you, and they got a lot of value from me over time. They got to learn what I was doing. When I messed something up, I would share with them. And I think, but very quick, once like this, we always joke about like turning on the info switch, but like once that was on, very, very quick. And the cool thing is, like, that first initial launch, I wasn't even making YouTube videos consistently back then. Like, I started making YouTube videos after the info turned up, and then that's been the main driver of success with it, kind of to sustain since then. But yeah, to kind of break down what it looks like, so pretty much been over 6 figures a month for like 3 years in a row, basically. And literally the most employees I've ever had at one time was 2, one setter, one closer. Right now I have one closer that sets and closes. And I just kind of do things really untraditionally. Like, I write the email myself. I ideate a lot of the videos myself. That's partially just enjoying things and everything. But I view info purely as a way to get yourself a shitload of free cash flow, or any type of services where there's no equity in it. It is purely to make as much profit for you as possible, and depending on how long a career you want, to build a bulletproof reputation to continue beyond that as you start to kind of make money for yourself and invest and everything too. Because you're probably not going to sell info forever.
Right. And you started solely on Twitter, and then that's when you started the info biz. When did you get into YouTube, and was it Instagram first, then YouTube?
So I had the IG page for about a year before I started doing Twitter. Twitter's not what it used to be, though. Like, it's way harder, I think, than it used to be. But it was like Instagram, Twitter, and then I had a couple YouTube videos, but like immediately once the info switch turned on, I did 3 videos a week for 6 months after that, and then now kind of have been probably consistently 2 to 3 a week for like 3 years. But it was immediately where it's like, okay, like I would study a lot of like the personal brands that were cooking, like anyone posting on an Instagram theme page, anyone who's getting shots on an Instagram theme page, automatically then they're making a bunch of money immediately. And there's so much you can gain from that. And what I love about like living in Miami and like hanging out with like Ben and Mason and everyone is everyone's doing the same thing. It's 5 things I wish I knew XYZ, how to actually start, no BS advice to XYZ, free like how to get started with XYZ free course. Like, there's so much we can learn from that. And especially for a lot of you guys as service providers for info people, right? I think there's a ton of value in like getting profit shares for 6 months and stuff like that as you learn to add more value the way Ben did and has continued to, right? And that Ben started out, like, I remember when Ben was running Facebook ads for basketball trainers, and then 2 years later, we would FaceTime every day when one of his clients was doing a webinar, and we'd talk about like the registrants and everything. And I'd be like, yeah, you need to start to see people make money really quick on stuff. But in the same way, like, I started out literally just making videos about what I was doing. And then I started to be able to be good at making money in the way I was doing Amazon, right? And then because I had equity with my audience, great relationships, right? Good reputation, I was then able to tell them how to do it, and then you just keep stacking up. Basically, it's like, okay, these guys are all making YouTube videos. I should probably be doing that. Okay, I need to go find an editor, right? But it is really, really simple at the end of the day, because in any niche of info, you just make the same thing everyone else is making. Like, the top dogs in each niche, you just do the exact same, and it does really well. And it quite literally is that simple. If you look at everyone's YouTube titles, they're the exact same thing. If you look at everyone's first 45 seconds of the videos, they're the exact same thing. Like, it quite literally is the exact same thing. It's copy and paste, and anyone can take massive advantage of any niche by doing that.
100%. How are you so consistent with the content, and is the Twitter thread streak still alive?
I ended that because I realized how little money it was actually bringing me. But I did that for like 2.5 years straight. Yeah, I think the consistency is kind of just always who I've been, and that was trained, but I always played 3 sports in high school, travel sports, and everything, so it was built heavily based off that. And then slowly over time, right, you start to realize that, like, you know, with a good business, like, you're making a bunch of money online, like, you can really, like, you know, save up some serious wealth. Like, real life, like stuff, like be able to help out your family with stuff and everything. So that's what kind of keeps me going these days, is seeing the real potential of that stuff. And like, if I want to, like, I would love to be able to go give like 20 grand to my high school every year and shit like that, you know, for the basketball team. Cause I always tell Ben about, I always like, that's like one of my like obsessions, I guess, kind of, is like niche basketball and stuff. Basically. But yeah, I just don't see it as like a hard thing. You just get up every day and you do what you need to do. And the big thing is just avoiding the big mistakes. Like, don't drink often, don't smoke often. When you don't do all that bullshit, you have nothing else to do but get rich. What else? Like, what else are you gonna do? Like, you can only relax so much. You know, there's really not much to do but the shit that's productive.
Yeah. So you doubled down on YouTube recently.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about first why you made that decision, and then kind of your strategy on YouTube right now.
Yeah, so the big thing is the massive barrier to entry, right? And that, like, if we go off of like the general human population, so few of them would even be able to take out their phone and record themselves talking, let alone people who are actually interested in making money, actually making like long videos about it, if we're talking like money online info and everything. So yeah, it just makes the most sense. And if you look at the people who have the most impact personal brand wise, it's all the people that dominate long form and podcasts and everything. You know, like just the length of impression so much more significant. And like all you guys, when you want to learn something, you don't go on Instagram, you know, you go on YouTube and look it up and everything. And then for your specific niche or whoever, you know, your client's serving or whatever, like, all their best customers are consuming long form content. It's either they consume it from you guys or from someone else, and you want to capture as many of those as possible for the long term.
Yeah. So with how many videos are you posting weekly right now?
I've been doing like every other day, but I'm very spoiled where my shit's screen sharing, like doing proc research and everything. So most people wouldn't need to do as much. But yeah, like pretty much every other day. Yeah.
And you're doing the flywheel VSL. Is that in all of your?
Not as, I just didn't like, I think people get to know, that's like Simon's business channel is really good with that. But like I think my audience just buys quicker. I think because it's very niche. It's not as broad. It's super, super niche. So I just typically just send them straight to the VSL funnel basically.
Got it. And that's really simple. Just 10-minute-ish VSL.
Yeah, maybe 5 minutes. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and you just qualify the shit out of them on the questionnaire, basically.
How good would you say your systems are as far as like when somebody books a call, getting emails, closer reaching out? Like what's that look like?
Oh, well, that's where it gets a little embarrassing. Yeah, and not
more marketing heavy. And you seem more marketing heavy.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's
I want high quality customers. You know what I mean? I want people that I don't have to track down. And do I sacrifice a little bit of money for that? Yes. But I want to have a long career, and I want to have only people that rock with me. But
yeah. How well do you know your numbers on the sales side?
Oh, not that well. But I'm all organic traffic, so like I kind of get, like, our show rate was 90% last month. You know? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. Like that YouTube traffic, crazy, man. Like, yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's all like, and I don't even know, once again, I feel like I should know about like the follow-ups and texts and shit like that, but it's just kind of always been easy because I've always just been doing organic traffic, honestly. Let's see.
Sorry, I was building a chair out there.
Yeah, so not well at all, but I've just kind of always done a really nice job of building a good relationship with the audience that I haven't really needed to get fancy like that. Now, if it were ads, you got to get fancy with that, obviously. But like I'm paying I spent like $8,000 last year total on advertising. You know what I mean? And have like a pretty decent business off it.
Yeah, I think you and Jimmy have a lot of similarities on the product side too. Like I'm sure your business could just grow from word of mouth alone. So how do you kind of set up your fulfillment side? I know like you're very involved. I'm sure you talk to pretty much every student that you have. Like how did you set that up so that you're not having to be a success manager?
Yeah, so I kind of am, but also when you really, really think critically about every problem your client has, you start to get phenomenal at objection handling in the content, basically. So like, honestly, like if the way I want people coming through my funnel is they know a good amount of shit already. Now that doesn't always end up happening. Sometimes you're like, how did you find the link to book to call? Like, why did you do it this early? How do you know it, right? So it's just natural part of it, but it's also good that people are finding your stuff basically. But yeah, you want, specifically on the selling info side of things, like people are really, really trusting with their money. Like you got to give them what they paid for and everything if you want to stick around for a while. And it's hardcore, absolutely really committing to that, really building a relationship with them. Like we had a conference last week. I didn't host it, but like 30 of my high ticket clients came out of the 150 people that came. Like that's pretty cool to see them and everything. And then, yeah, so like I do one-on-ones with everyone, which is a lot of work, keeps me out of trouble though, right? And then just really giving a shit about them. You know what I mean? Really prioritizing getting back to them, having the resources they need. One thing that was huge that changed my whole business was grouping people together, right? Because I realized like the only reason I kept working on making money online when I wasn't making a bunch of cash was these guys, was Ben and was Danny and people you mess with, because they think differently than your friends IRL, and that's okay. And you have availability to go find them really easily, honestly, online. So I was like, that needs to be a component of the student experience that I give, is giving them a chance to find their Ben, to find their Mason, right? And all my most successful students just work together. And ironically, those same guys that are the most successful, they have the most fun too. They work the least. They avoid mistakes the most. I just jam them together basically. I'll show you guys my phone here. But like, you know, I kind of see it just as like matchmaking, honestly. Like for example here, like, let's see. Yeah. So like this is a text group chat of students I made, and they're just like talking throughout the day and everything. And this gives them a chance to be themselves and have fun making money, which they've never had before. 99% of people have never had that, will never have that, and I have the unique opportunity to be able to do that. And that is not successful every time, not even close, but it really is a good thing for some people. And I can take that, 30 minutes a week to go ahead and think who would work well together, right? And everything. And ironically, that's actually less work for me too, because then they work together on stuff, and that's not what it's for, but there is a benefit of that too.
100%.
Yeah.
What's working on YouTube best for you right now? And then just like in general, what kind of videos are you seeing? Like I know you gave Kishan that one idea that crushed for him recently.
Oh, the date one? Yeah.
Like, how do you, in the beginning of the call, you're kind of talking about like, just take what other people are doing in different niches and apply it to your own. Like, how do you kind of facilitate that? What does that look like when you're making content and then just in general?
Yeah, I got pretty good at pretty much any idea being able to twist it to fit my niche, basically. But all of you guys should sign up for the newsletter called Creator Hooks. It's free. They just send you YouTube ideas, basically, which is pretty dope, honestly. And then always keep an eye on what's working for people, always. Like the most popular tab is really helpful. They're called like outliers. I don't even use like a tool for it. I just kind of like keep my ears to the streets, basically. On that, but yeah, any video that did really well, like there was an outlier for someone, like I'll show you guys an example of what that looks like too here. Like my niche is Amazon, so I look at a lot of like drop shippers. Basically it's like you mind if I can share? Oh, cool. All right, here we go. So like this dude here, like he made a good video on right here, like Andrew Tate's advice on drop ship, or right. So then I went here and made Alex Hormozzi's advice on Amazon FBA, right? It didn't do great, but it was, the click-through rate was really high. I didn't do a great job of delivering with it, right? So like that's an example of how you can suit something to your niche, right? And then, and everything. And you got like, he probably found that from someone else and everything, right? And it's all just like looking at what else is working in the marketplace and kind of making it your own pretty much.
Yeah, Kishan just cooked with that.
Yeah, right. Exactly, and that's like what's so fun is that it's all kind of transitory like that. And you're serving a different niche of people, right? And it's just a fun game of like looking at what's working for other people and then working and making your own pretty much.
Mm-hmm. What do you think has been the biggest thing that's like giving you longevity in the info space? Because I think it's pretty easy, relatively easy to even get to 6-figure months selling info, but to be there consistently for 3 years is a whole different story, especially when you're not running ads, you're not pivoting your offer every 3 months. What's the longevity? How have you managed that?
Yeah, so I've had the same offers for 3 years in a row. I haven't sold anything new basically for besides like our new software, but that's different. Like it's not info, right? So it's giving shit about people. Period. The more your clients that would dap you up when they see you on the street, the more that would come fly out to your conference, the more that will defend you when someone hates on Reddit or someone hates on Twitter, the better. And that there is no way to automate that. There's no way to automate the human connection. So it's that, and then also really keeping my ears to the streets about what's working in the marketplace for other people too. But the getting to know the customers really well. Like I've had I think in the past year probably like 5 of my students like stay over at my house, which is a little aggressive, but like they became best friends, like really really good friends, and they literally were originally just customers. I went to a wedding a year ago, and there were like 15 Amazon guys there, like 12 of them were high ticket guys of mine, something like that, right? It's just caring about people, you know, and you can't scale that, or you can, but it's really prioritizing that, you know, and that's one-on-one interaction. That's meeting people where they are. That's delivering the stuff they need, not in the way that they want it, but in the way they need it if they can handle it, right? A 40-year-old woman gets a very different answer than a 22-year-old male. I might jab him about how a decision he's making avoiding a product is low testosterone or something like that. Right? You know what I mean? Like making it fun for them, right? Because we're incredibly, incredibly blessed to know what we do, to know the people we do, to have access to these rooms and everything. And, you know, not everyone has that, but the more you can be an integral part of opening them up to what's possible for themselves, the more they'll fuck with you, which is selfishly for you a very good thing, and it's obviously a very good thing for them too.
Yep. I know last month was your biggest month in a bit. What do you think the lever was there? What changed? Was it just compounding content and goodwill, or was there any like specific levers you think you pulled that?
I was just locked in for the first time in a while, just like really good on it, basically, like really good, you know, taking care of doing things the way they should be and everything, you know, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is at the end of the day, it's making good YouTube videos, period. It's having high quality traffic watch your CTAs, not at the end of the video. Having high quality traffic watch your CTAs.
Yep. And that's in the first third of the video, yeah?
Typically, sometimes I'll do halfway through. I was killing it like a year ago when the Amazon niche was a little bit more popping. Things kind of, you know, you stick around for a couple of years, you see the Google searches go up and down sometimes and everything. But yeah, like, you know, at least halfway through, typically. Mm-hmm. At the latest halfway through, yeah.
And are you still doing the Webbies bi-weekly directly to mid-ticket?
Yes, yeah. So basically, we sell an annual subscription to our software with our mid-ticket, pretty much, which is awesome too. I'll at some point in the future, I'll probably do it to my own high ticket as well. But we really like that offer for now.
What do you do to send those mid-ticket customers? Do you have any systems there, or it's kind of
no, and that honestly just comes down to that specific product being shared with partners. The high ticket being on my own, I feel like I have enough traffic to kind of deal with it elsewhere, you know. I do send a lot of people though.
Yeah, and it does still kind of bleed into high ticket.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, because for sure. Yeah, definitely.
What do you do on the webinar to keep the training fresh? Because I remember when we were working together on it, like you'd have different slides for different times of the year. Like, are you tweaking it every other week, or what's that look like?
It's new people every time, man. All we change is like if Mother's Day is coming up, we'll tell them some tips for Mother's Day sales for like Amazon product sourcing and everything. Like pretty much nothing outside of like 5 minutes the day of, and that just comes down to prioritizing always having new people watching your stuff, which is making good discoverable videos on YouTube, basically.
How many registrants are you getting bi-weekly?
500 to 700 new people, basically, and then like half show up, pretty much.
Yeah. And okay, let's say it's Webby Week. What are all of the dials that are being?
All right. Y'all take a screenshot of this here. Okay, this is game here. Okay, watch this. This is a checklist I've done every webinar for 2 years here. All right. Let me get this up for you guys here. Every other Wednesday morning, I make this and I fire away here. All right, this is gonna be good stuff here. All right, let's see here. All right, take a screenshot of that right there. This is every webinar day I do this here. Every single one, that whole thing. basically, right there. Sometimes I won't do the tweet hunter and everything, but you guys get the idea, basically, right? So this like gets all our most high quality traffic in there, and it's literally been the same funnel for 2 years or no, and we still get new people that show up, and everything based on that.
Do you change the CTAs in YouTube content?
Oh, yeah. Saying things differently. Like I'll typically say, like, if you're looking for personalized help, or if you want one-on-one coaching from me, shit like that, but not a ton, honestly, which kind of, I feel like that trains people to your offer and everything.
On Webby weeks, are you strictly pushing the Webby on socials too, or
the day before at the minimum, but typically before too. Yeah, typically before as well. Yeah.
So would you say you get most of your registrants in that push?
Definitely, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Wait, that's very interesting, because then it keeps, like, you're still selling the high ticket 6 days out of the week.
5. Yeah, but yeah, exactly. Yeah, 5 to 6. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
And you said roughly 500 to 700 on.
Yep.
Half of them show up. Do you know like what percentage?
I don't know, but it's good because it's all organic traffic. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember you were between like 10-15%.
Yeah, well, dude, like if you take care of people, you know what I mean, and if they're high quality, you know what I mean. If it's not from ads, it's significantly easier.
Yeah. So I know you just launched your the Inner Circle offer.
That I can't believe I never fucking did that, but yeah, that's free money.
Let's break that down.
Yeah. So literally, I was walking to Komodo like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, shit, what else could I sell these guys, basically? And then I wake up the next morning, and I just text like a bunch of the people that have been in my group for a while, because I sell lifetime access, right? And I was like, hey, would you want like somewhere where you could hang around just other people that were like selling full time and everything? And they were like, yeah. And then I got like a couple handfuls the first day, basically. And yeah, just two to three extra calls a week, and then a group chat just of successful sellers, basically, and they seem to like it so far. I am going to really make it overwhelmingly good, but like I closed people I closed 3 years ago, like so literally, like, there's a guy who joined 3 years ago who I just got double the LTV from, basically, and because he knows the deal, he's really easy to help. It's just these small little tweaks that I get because I'm heavy in it every day that he might not get, being a little bit more detached from the community, basically. But yeah, that like grew the profit 50% overnight in like 1 week, basically, which was sick. Yeah. And I don't know if I'll sell all 10 spots every month, but yeah.
You priced it at 4,500.
45, but I'm going to do 5K in the future. Yeah. Cause I didn't realize that how hungry to learn people who are already pretty successful are, like they want more, they want to get around you more. They want to get around other people that are in the game more too. And so that was really cool to see that come to fruition.
And your flagship offers 3K?
3,500. Yeah, 3,500. But like what you guys got to understand with this stuff, like we're so blessed to be able to make money in such a high margin business. If it's someone who's good that wants to pay 3K, like give me the 3K. You know what I mean? Like, we're so, this is stuff so possible. Like you're here just to get rich, just to get money to invest. Get rich kind of sounds bad, but like get money to invest and grow your own personal wealth, basically, and build a bulletproof reputation for future projects. Mm-hmm. If you so desire to have future projects.
Yep. So 10 spots open, 10 Inner Circle spots open monthly at 4,500.
I'm going to do 5K though. And if I sell 5, great. That's an extra 25 grand.
Fill that up. You said it was within like 48 hours after.
3 days, and then I kind of lacked on getting out the last one. But now, like, I'm going to be smart and, like, mention it during the main coaching calls and be like, yeah, we just had a good Inner Circle call, kind of build some scarcity based on that,
And that's directly just an extra 45 grand in profit in your pocket.
And like, I mean, just prayed for times like these back in the day. You know what I mean? Like shit, like it's incredible what's possible when you stick to the same opportunity for a while.
For real. You have a good setup, bro. Like you not only how much the Amazon community respects you and your audience loves you, but like also just your offers. Like you have the $700 roadmap, right?
Yep, 800, but yeah.
The 3,500 flagship, and now your Inner Circle. Like that's kind of the natural ascension of offers, and like over time, it just logically makes more sense. So that's simplicity as well. But I guess on the on your side, I'm curious, what do you think, if anything, what are your biggest gaps right now? Like, what would you say, like, oh, this is the biggest problem that I'm having running my info business? Maybe to spark some ideas for anybody or for pretty much everybody who is working with info businesses. Like, what would get you to $250,000 a month consistently without adding too much complexity, headache, or having to deal with, absolute idiots inside of your...
Yeah. So it would probably be, like, increasing the traffic by 50%, offering financing, which I wouldn't do. I wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Just from like a, whatever. I wouldn't.
I'm with you on that, bro.
Yeah, like that fucks people's life up. You know what I mean? Or could, right? But yeah, I would say, probably making significantly kind of more broad content. But like at the same time, like I like where it's at, and I know there's some things I can do better, which is going to be, better thumbnails, better titles, investing more time in that, maybe getting a full-time in like a Miami college kid that would love to edit and kind of learn more about business, I think would be sick potentially. I don't know if I'll end up doing that, but that would be cool. But I don't know. I like where it's at, and I think webinars to high ticket in future would be sick as well. I just kind of like the way we do it now pretty much. But yeah, probably, we close really well. Show rates high. So probably significantly better content. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you only have one closer right now, yeah?
Yeah. And he's not close to capacity either.
Got it. How many calls are you getting weekly, if you know?
Probably 4 to 5 a day. Okay. They're pretty high quality. But yeah, like, and then the Amazon kind of industry is a little bit down right now. You can see based on like Google search and everything. So if we ever get back to like what it was like 2-3 years ago with what I know now, I'm gonna be pumping like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Totally. So closer, I'm sure you have some coaches outside of that.
Yeah. So one for the standard, and then one that helps me out with the Ascension. Yeah.
Got it. It's super lean though.
Yeah, it's just like we're here to make profit. We're not here to make money. We're here to make profit so you can grow your investment portfolio. Period. Like as human beings with no wife, no kids yet, you know what I mean? Like those, you know what I mean? Like that's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
You know.
How many emails do you send weekly?
Pretty much every YouTube video, right? And then so pretty much every YouTube video, and then one CTA a week, webinar. So probably 4. Probably 4. I honestly feel like I do it so much worse and personalized than a lot of people, and I still get 30% open, and I've had it for like, 3 years, 3.5 years basically. But yeah, 30% of people, 27%, 28% pretty consistently.
Yeah. Okay, I'm curious. Go ahead.
Probably 4 a week, yeah.
I'm curious, since you've mentioned it a couple times now, do you have like a set amount or like a set percentage of money that you're investing every month, or how do you think about investing?
Every dime possible. You know what I mean? Like whatever cash is there, get it out. It's such a beautiful, unique time to like, and we're so profitable being in info and services and everything. Like, there's not like, it's not the type of business that you could like sell in the future, right? So just like, get every dime of profit you can and start growing that thing,
And you just put it in S&P pretty much?
Primarily, yeah. There's like, people will do better without that and everything, but that's like what I like to do, yeah.
You know how Danny was telling me to buy Tesla?
Yeah, printed. Look at that. Yeah, dude.
Oh,
yeah, printed.
A month like 20%?
Yeah. Now the way you can think about that too is like that time you put to make that money got 20% more valuable.
Yeah.
Right. That's the way I like to think. You can play all types of cool games with yourself on this stuff. Where the way I think about it was a month ago when the market was down 20%, every high ticket person I would sell was basically 4,200, which, cause I'm going to invest all of it and I know it's going to grow. I know it's going to get back to all time high. So I'm like weird, but I really enjoy playing games with myself like that, around stuff like that, which I think has been very, very beneficial. Cause at the end of the day, this stuff is very boring unless you make it exciting, and you got to do it if you want to. You got to do the stuff you need to do if you want to get to where you want to be. So that the more fun you can make it, the better, which is playing games with yourself and getting around other people doing it too.
100%. Okay, one more YouTube weed question for you. how do you structure your videos? How do you kind of think of your hooks? I know you said the majority, most of them are like screen sharing and kind of going pretty in depth, but just on the full kind of YouTube strategy side, like how do you think about that?
Yeah, so basically I've watched like every podcast about how to be a YouTuber I've watched, you know what I mean? For the most part, like Mr. Beast stuff's really good basically, but like, you know, pretty much all of these are videos that did well in other niches here. And then, you know, really prioritizing the thumbnail, taking your time on that, getting a good editor. Like I'll show you guys what it looks like talking to my editor actually too. Let me get that up. I'll show you guys like what it looks like to design those. But yeah, the first 45 seconds are by far the most important. And, you know, think about like what would make you want to watch a video, you know? You just got to like deliver based on that basically. Mm-hmm. I'll show you guys an example of what that, what like the thumbnail looks like here. So like, yeah, like check this out. So like, and I bonused my thumbnail guy real nicely too. So like, check it out. So like, I'll send him like faces to use, and then like, I'll tell him the text, the background color, you know, it's like, this is probably a tweet right here, a tweet thumbnail like that. Right. So just really taking your time on that. It really, really pays off, as well. And then, like, filming a 20-minute video, like 5 of that will be getting the intro right. Getting the intro right. I'll read it a couple times. I'll like, just while I'm like sitting on my couch, I'll like read it and speak it out to myself and everything, because that's like huge. And really taking your time with that is really, really, because you got to consider like, you know, you guys had to get to know Ben pretty well to join. The same thing with my stuff, right? Every inch you can get really, really benefits you over time more and more with that stuff. So just really prioritizing the first like 45 seconds.
Do you completely script it out, like you word for word?
Intro completely script out, and then based on my niche, I don't have to for the other stuff. But what's kind of like really important to gauge too here, if we take a look at like my page back and here, like right here. So check this out. So right here. So like these thumbnails are atrocious, and it was still like 6 figures a month for it. You know what I mean? Like these are, but like who else shows up? Like every niche has like 1 or 2 people that give a shit enough to consistently do it for a while, and they make a ton of money from it, right? Like these thumbnails are atrocious here, but like no one else was making videos about it. So by default, if you wanted to learn about this topic, you had to watch my stuff for the most part. And then my partner too, on the low ticket of the software companies. He's been epically good, consistent over time. You can see how white I was living in Pennsylvania there. You see that? Right? Yeah, like if we look at me lately, you can see I get a more tan. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, you're right. And everything. But like, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't even have to be that good. You just have to do it for a while, and then you naturally innovate. So like these videos were making tons of money, and they're terrible thumbnails here. Look at that. Right? And then if you look at like my best videos, it's all like the shit that it makes sense, the best stuff. It's the really broad, just like
97, bro.
Yeah.
How much money do you think that one video has made you?
Oh yeah. Well, it's interesting how stuff breaks down. Like, I don't know, probably 5% of the lifetime revenue or something. You know, it's crazy to think about it like that. You know, but it's cool, and it shows you that, you know, you got to really prioritize this stuff. You know.
So that's the mastermind call with Ben. If you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me on my business Instagram, mileslongstrethinfo. It's linked in the description as well. Then if you want any one-on-one consulting with YouTube, personal branding, building your coaching business the right way, take a look down below at the link in the description as well. And I have a full free course I posted on this channel too. So take a look at that right here. It'll show you the entire game step by step in 2.5 hours. See you guys in the next one.